What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. It is good to be back. I missed y'all. It's like I leave for a week and I come back and it's just like, oh my God, I miss y'all. I miss my podcast. I miss my baby. I miss yapping about my trauma. Oh my God, I miss this. I miss y'all. But nonetheless, it's another Friday, okay? Your girl has been being so productive when I tell you, y'all, every single day I'm just making moves. Every single day I'm making a way out of no way. Every single day I'm just handling business. Naturally, me being a CEO, that's what CEO do. I'm just making things happen, Captain, okay? And I have a few couple surprises for this podcast. I have a few things going on. So I'm just really grateful for what this podcast has been for me. It has been bringing me opportunities and it has been very healing as well. And I've just had so many people reach out to tell me not only that they love the podcast, but they are very, very proud of me. So thank y'all so much. And with that being said, thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Diary of a Divine Black Girl. Woo hoo, woo hoo, woo hoo. Mm-mm. I cannot wait till the day that I'm able to add sound effects because y'all, me just beatboxing and beating buckets and beating my hands and stuff whenever I'm doing an introduction, y'all, it's just not giving. It's just not giving. But you know what? I told y'all season one is giving the trenches this season. So you know what? If I gotta manually beatbox and clap my hands and create a whole choir in my room, then so be it. Then I will beatbox, tap dance, do up, do up, do up, do up, like whatever I need to do to create the vibes, because this all we got. I am not going to make the intro super long this episode. I know the intro was super long last episode, but y'all, I have to give credit when it's due. I have to show love. I have to show appreciation because it's all reciprocated over here. The love is always so mutual. The love is always so reciprocated. So I had to do it, y'all. But I promise it's not going to be a long intro. I'm about to wrap it up right now, actually. Don't forget to turn y'all notification bells on so y'all can continue to be notified when I drop my episodes, especially this upcoming week because I have some things that are gonna pop up. I have some things that are in the vault, so you're gonna want to be notified what I got going on, okay? I don't know if you like surprises. I really don't. I'm gonna be honest, I don't. If I have a surprise, I'm gonna be like, I got a surprise. Don't ask me what it is because I'm gonna tell you. I verbatim, that's what I would say. I can hold it, but I don't want to. I might tiptoe around it. But I promise y'all, these are good surprises. These are good things happening. Everything that's happening right now just gives me the confirmation that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be and I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I just love seeing my podcast grow in real time. It's very surreal to me to just watch this just flourish. Like I'm just proud of myself. And I know that I mentioned that other people are proud of me, but y'all, truly, I'm very proud of myself. I am so proud of myself. Like, to Psychesia, girl, you better do it. I'm just so proud of you, girl. Keep doing your thug thistle. Okay? I just love myself. I'm going to re listen to that later and just be like, oh my God, Psychesia, you shouldn't have. Like, oh my God, that's so nice. Today's episode, I felt like the last episode, Divine Beginning, where I told y'all basically that I was getting bullied all my life, and it was a very melodramatic, very depressive episode. I thought that I would lighten it up just a tad bit with this one. I just really wanted to run it back real quick and just let y'all know that there were times in my life and there were moments that weren't always so bad. So this episode is just me looking back and letting y'all know that I did have moments that were fun. I did have moments that I did go outside, I did go places, I did have refreshing people in my life. I did have refreshing experiences. It wasn't all bad. So that's what this episode is giving. It wasn't all bad. But with no further ado, let's get that's what it is, right? No further ado. No further ado. No further ado. Is that what it is? Oh my god, like is that what it is? No further ado, right? But with no further ado, I really hope that that's the saying. No further ado, right? Y'all, I was gonna edit this out, but I'm gonna keep it because it be getting real over here. This is what I be dealing with. This is what I deal with when I edit my videos, y'all. With no further ado, let's get into the episode. When I was younger, like I said, it wasn't all bad. Like I just wasn't always just so trapped, like for the most part, I was. If we looking at overall, I was pretty much in the house. I was very sheltered. But there were moments when I wasn't, you know? And because there were so little moments that I had where I actually either felt like a kid or I actually just felt free or I actually just felt like, oh my God, life's gonna get better. Because there were so little moments of those times, I really tried to hold on to those memories as much as I could. I really tried to make each moment count and be as present as I could. I told y'all a lot about how I used to daydream a lot because I just wanted to escape reality. But whenever I had these moments, I wanted them to last forever. Those type of moments where you was growing up and you was with your friends and y'all was hanging out and you just had the best time and y'all laughed all day. Y'all had crazy experiences happen. And that don't even have to be when you was younger. You could be doing that now, but you just know when you are in that moment where things just flow and things just feel so perfect, and you just want to hold on to that moment forever. You just don't want the day to end. That's how I used to feel all the time. Like I just really pray that this day doesn't end, that this moment doesn't end. I can get into the places that I actually did go to because I did make it seem like I just never went nowhere, which technically I didn't. I did say that the school was a place that I did try to also escape from. But I will say that the school did have its moment. Middle school, not so much high school that much, but middle school definitely. They did have their moments where it served as a safe space sometimes. And in those rare occurrences, it was when it was field trip days. Field trip days, you go to school, everybody's excited, and it was just always something in the air those days. Like you just know you going on a field trip that day. It just always hit different. Like you come outside, the air is crisp. In Chicago in the mornings, it was just something in the air that just smelled like cookies sometimes, like fresh, straight out the oven cookies. Sometimes the sun was shining, the skies was so blue, and it's just like you're going on a field trip. Or sometimes you will come outside and it'll be humidity in the air, the clouds are gray and gloomy, but you also knew we was going on a field trip. So it really didn't matter. In my school, they took us to a few places. They took us to the Shed Aquarium. Chicago, if you know, the Shed Aquarium, that's just the one staple place that every school will just take their kids. Like every school is taking their students to the Shed Aquarium. You had the Shed Aquarium. You had the zoo. You had Rainforest Cafe. You had these little meeting conferences where we all just used to go to a location or meet with somebody that starred in a television show or something, and we asked them questions and we basically sit there and interview them. I hated those field trips because it's like at this point y'all just doing any we don't care. And I hate to sound ignorant, but like that's the truth. When you a kid, like you don't care. Like you pulled us out of school so we could sit here and learn some more. I'm so petty, y'all, but it's so true. I'm telling you the truth. The Shed Aquarium was my favorite though. I will say that. The Shared Aquarium was an aquarium that just, I think it's hands down one of the best ever made aquariums. But you know, when it comes to my city, we just got the best everything, y'all. So I'm not even trying to oversauce it, but it's just, that's just how it is. Chicago is just, it's just that city, y'all. But the aquarium was just known for the fishes, the birds, the marine mammals, the reptiles, the invertebrates, you know, like we all love the dolphin show. And I know before y'all, some people, the environmentalist or the animal protector people, I don't know who's listening, you know, you never know. But I do want to say when you are a kid, you're not thinking about what's really happening with those dolphins, okay? When you're a kid, you're thinking, oh, this is a damn dolphin show where they're doing tricks. So please don't shame me, okay? But we did. We love the dolphins. They would have a dolphin show, and the dolphins would do tricks, and they would jump, and they would spin, and they would move their fins in the water really fast. And it was just always an experience to see that. You know, being able to see snakes real live, like real live huge snakes, like oh my goodness. And seeing fishies, like when you go to the fish area, everybody's looking for Nemo and Dory. Where's Nemo? Where's Nemo? What they call it, the clownfish? Yeah, they call it the clownfish. We would be looking for where's Nemo? Where's Dory? And you know, as a kid, that's such an amazing experience because watching Finding Nemo and then going to an aquarium and you see Nemo and Dory, like that's so cool. And so I used to really hone in on those memories because I would be taking that back with me. On the way back on the school bus, I would just sit and I was always so quiet coming back because I'm just reflecting. It's also something so bittersweet about leaving somewhere, but knowing that you have to come back somewhere as well. It's something so just, it's just this feeling in your chest where it's like, I just had some of the best memories. I just had one of the best days, but it didn't last forever. I gotta come back to reality. That's always what it felt like. It's like, oh, I gotta come back to reality. I was just dreaming now, but now I do have to go back to reality. But those memories, it would help make the day just a little bit better. And you know, my mom would ask sometimes, you know, how was the field trip? How was the aquarium? Like, oh, mommy, I saw Dory and Nemo. Mommy, I saw this, I saw that. You know, I saw the dolphins. I saw some really cute birds, a blue jay, a red cardinal. Like, mommy, you know, and just sharing that with a parent too, you know. It wasn't every time, it wasn't always, but there were a lot of times where I did, you know, I did feel happy about sharing that. And then, you know, you go in your room and it's just that feeling of loneliness again. It's just that feeling of like, damn, I wish I stayed there forever, you know. I also did go to Chicago events, not associated with field trips, but just Chicago events, period. I got older and just a little bit older. And I say younger and older because I told y'all, bear with me. You know, I'm going in the vault for these. I'm going in the archives where there's a lot of dark holes and spaces. It's like space in there. I gotta find these planets. I gotta find the Milky Way or something, y'all. So bear with me. I don't know the specific ages. I can't pinpoint it. But I got the memories. That's all I got. That's all I got. Y'all seen that Tyrese meme? That's all I got. Bear with me. But as I got a little bit older, my grandfather would be like, "Oh, I want to take the kids to the Taste of Chicago." Now, anybody not from Chicago, the Taste of Chicago is basically an event where the Chicago hosts all these food vendors, all these food trucks, all these food vendors that are all over Chicago, and they're all in this one place. Everybody comes, mostly for, young adults, kids, families. It's like a family event, but you can go there too. Anybody can go there pretty much. And you go, you buy tickets. Tickets is how you eat. The more tickets you got, the more you get to eat. And I remember going with my granddad, my cousins, and sometimes my mom and my aunties too. Like it would be like a family day, like a family vacation day. And we would go there, and I have always loved food. I really don't know if it's the tourist in me, y'all, but I just have this deep, deep passion for food that nobody will truly understand. I truly love food. I do. I do. And so going to an event like that, and I'm seeing all these trucks, and not only is it just a venue for the food that's all over Chicago, but they also open their food palettes. We wasn't just eating turkey legs, which my grandfather was famous for, always making sure he just got these big dumbass turkey legs. That's one of the things that the taste is known for. Some big dumb ass turkey legs. Like I promise you, it's the size of your arm. A turkey leg. But they didn't just have stuff like those or nachos or tacos. Like they had different types of food and weird combinations and things for you to experiment with. Like Chicago showed y'all how they got down at the Taste of Chicago, pretty much. Like this is their time to shine, and they made it happen. And I never knew how many tickets we got, but I know that we was always full. I would typically get like tacos, nachos, and maybe a few other things, but what I always remember getting every single time, funnel cake. You cannot go to the Taste and not get funnel cake. I would get this huge funnel cake topped with either strawberry syrup and strawberries, or I would get like a Oreo funnel cake, and it came with fudge, and it came with whipped cream and cherries, and it would just be like, all right, this how I know I was done. This how you knew I was out of tickets, because I need this funnel cake, and it's just like seeing so many other people there. It typically would be a sunny day whenever we went, and it just would be a good time. And sometimes we would stay because they will also have performances closer to the evening time. So it's like you had food, you had a live production being put on in front of you, and it's a great time. Everybody's there. It's typically a band playing old school jams, and the old folks love that. But it just really did something to me, because it's like, oh, like I really live for these moments. Like I really enjoy these sort of times. And the Taste of Chicago was located downtown as well. And I told y'all, downtown is just that different part from Chicago. Chicago has different sides. You have the south side, the west side, the north side, the east side. And typically the north side is where the upper scale, upper tax bracket people are. And then the south side, west side, and east side are the sides that everybody is just like, okay. And then you have downtown. Basically, downtown is a tourist attraction. When all those things was happening with George Floyd, and there were a lot of looting going on in the neighborhoods, they were okay with our sides being fucked up or our sides being ran through. But downtown, Baby, when I tell y'all there was 24/7 police officers, it was the SWAT team, it was so many things going on. They were protecting downtown as much as they could. You know, they couldn't do it all the way, but they were protecting it because downtown, that's where the money is. So going downtown was always just like, oh, we're experiencing a different part of Chicago that's not happening back in the hood, basically. But don't sleep on the hood because the hood is always going to have a classics. Like, I remember going to a lot of carnivals. Oh my God, y'all. This one hit me deep. This one hit me deep. I had to go deep in the archives for this one. The carnivals, Chicago carnivals on the South Side. Oh my God. And I know a lot of people feel like they don't like the whole portable carnival thing, like where they set up and they got all these mini rides. But as a kid, you don't give a fuck what the carnival came out of. It can come out as it can. I was gonna take it too far, but it can come out of anywhere. Like you see a ride, you see a Ferris wheel, and it's more funnel cake. You're gonna do it. And I remember that my grandmother, who lived on like Maplewood during the time, she was near this place, this area, and it just always had carnivals. Like almost every month, every other month, or the summertime, it just was an area that was perfect for carnivals. It was around that Gage Park area. Always had carnivals. And I would just have to be like, are we going to the carnival today? Are we going to the carnival today? And that's when the family was a little bit more united. It would be my mother, my cousins that were my age, and then you had my older cousins. And then you had my grandmother. And then you had my grandfather sometimes, my aunties. And it would just be like, okay, we gonna all go to the carnival. Like, okay, y'all, we finna all go to the carnival. And it'd just be like, okay, okay, okay. Like, we going to the carnival. So, the carnival, the lights being lit up, me getting on the teacup ride or the dragon rides where, it was the dragon and, like the stuffed animals. You get to throw the ball into the little things and try to win a prize. I never won, by the way. I never won. I would have to get my older cousins to be like, can you win that for me so I can take a stuffed animal home? Like that's really how it was. And then I would definitely have to get the funnel cake. You have to get the funnel cake, but that's what I'm talking about. I absolutely love carnivals. To this day, I love carnivals. I love how intimate it can be with a family, a friend, a lover. And it doesn't matter if it's a amusement park type of environment or if it's just a real life hood carnival. Take me there. Invite me. I will go. I will go. And I know I mentioned Gage Park, Chicagoans. If you know, you know. For non-Chicagoans, Gage Park area always been an interesting area. I told y'all the South Side very active, very active. I love my city, but you gotta be honest. Some areas was more active than others. Gage Park was one of them areas. However, though, I will say that it became less active certain times because it was like a safe zone for the kids. I used to go to summer camps all the time. As soon as school was over when I was younger, my mama, you going to summer camp. And I used to hate that sometimes because it's just like, girl, I just had to deal with all these people through the whole year. Like now you finna have me do my summer, but my mama had to work. And I'm too young to just sit in the house all day by myself. Too young to work. So it's like I gotta give you something to do, summer camp. But I did used to love summer camp. I went maybe like 2, 3 summers and it was the Gage Park summer camp. And it was just this facility, like a recreational facility type environment. And we would have activities like dancing, and we would go on trips as well to like rainforests, or we would go bowling, or just these different things that they would put on for us to have a good time. And the thing that I used to love the most was the fact that my summer camp was affiliated with Gage Park, which had like a pool. It had a pool and it was always open to the community. It was this Gage Park pool, and oh my God, you had different hours, different ages. And sometimes the summer camp would just get it was just, they would just rent it out. They would just rent it out for a few hours, and it would just be us swimming in there. And I never could swim. I'm better at it now, but I just love the water. The water, it just calls to me. It flows to me, you know? It flows to me. Just like animals, just like babies. I just have that nurturing, just ethereal energy. You know, I'm just a goddess. I told y'all. That's what Psychesia mean. I live up to the name. But I would do my best to try to swim. But then I would just be like, let's just float. And then you see all the bigger kids, because you know, summer camp, we are in there with all age groups. And the bigger kids, they on the deep end. I remember so many times me trying to go in the deep end. Y'all, the lifeguards never did their job. You can't tell me. I was nearly dying every time. The water was going in my throat. I was burping. Oh my God. I had to try to like shimmy to find like a place for me to grab so I could pull myself up. I did try to play it off as much as I could, but them lifeguards wasn't worth a damn. I done been baptized so many times at this point. Like, oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. And then not only did I go to Gage Park for summer camp, but my grandmother lived over there. Like I told y'all, she lived in that area during that time. So whenever I went to my grandmother's house, me and my cousins, we would go to the pool. And not even just me and my cousins, it's like the whole block. It's like it was just a whole community over there because there were two different parks over there. You had the kid park, which was blue, and you had kind of like the big kid park that was red. But the big kid park had more things like swings and seesaws and monkey bars and things of that nature over there. But it was also right next to the pool. So that's why I said Gage Park, the activity was calm most times because they knew that it was a lot of family and kids over there. But I definitely used to go swimming with my family. I definitely used to try to be in the deep end with the big kids, with my cousins. Never worked out for me, y'all. Never worked out for me. But in those moments, I would just pretend to be a mermaid anyway. So it's fine. You know, when in doubt, be a mermaid. And I used to wear goggles too, but you never wanted to look underneath that water. Not with all us in there. Yeah, the things I used to see, man. The things I used to see underwater. It never gave Bikini Bottom where I'm from. It never gave Bikini Bottom at Gage Park. But those were just the good moments. Those were just the good times. Like I did go places. I did have certain experiences, you know, but those were things that happened either in one block, and then the rest of my life was just kind of duller and duller because after that part of my life, that's where everything started to just get a little more isolated and alienated. Things started to change. My grandma didn't live there no more, so nobody really gathered over there no more. We used to have barbecues and we used to sit on the neighbor's porch and just laugh all night and all day and play with the holes. And I told y'all when summer came, people would bust open the fire hydrants and we would have that splash on us. But it's like things change. And I think that was another thing that used to break my heart too, because it's just like I have never really been a fan of change. It's like, why can't things just stay the way they are? Why can't things just be perfect? Why can't this moment just be forever? Like I told y'all, like, why can't it just be this? You know? And so change used to really scare me and upset me because it's like it's never gonna be this again. I never went to those parks no more. I never swam at the Gage Park swimming pool no more. I stopped going to summer camp. I didn't really see my big cousins as much anymore. Couldn't really hang out at grandma's house because that was no longer grandma's house. It was just different. things just got quieter. And so I said all that to say, like, y'all, I did go places. Like, I did have a little bit of a childhood. Like, I don't want to just traumatize y'all and make y'all feel like it was just always dark. But I will say that that section, like all the memories that I just listed in that section, it was like my childhood was that one section. And then what I told y'all in the last episode was the rest of my life, if that makes sense. It was the rest of my childhood. Like for that one point in time, my childhood was lit. For that one point in time, the field trips and the summer camps and the Taste of Chicago, even though the Taste of Chicago happened more so when I was in high school. Like I was older, just a little bit older. But everything else, like that was lit. But the rest of my childhood, that's episode one. But that's why I made part two, because y'all have to know that I did have some fun. You know, them carnivals were fun. The Shed Aquarium was fun. You know, it was just always fun during that time. Not always, but you know what I mean. And not only did I have, some good memories, I also had some good influences in my life during the time. When I was in third grade, I had this teacher named Miss Willis. And I'm so upset that I never ever found out her first name. You know, when you grow up, teachers be real protective over their first name. Like, you think that their last name is their first name. You think the last name is the name for a period of time, because I didn't think you had a first name for real. But I had a teacher named Miss Willis, and she was just so lovely. She was this black lady, and I can now describe her energy as like a neo soul type of energy. She was very vibrant. She was very sweet. She was very nurturing. She used to wear a lot of bright colors, and her hair was in this curly afro that she would let hang down, and she would just have all this curly hair down her shoulders, down her back, and she would sometimes wear like bell bottoms. And she was always my favorite teacher. She would pay so much attention to me. She would give me books to read that she felt like reminded her of me. If I had a bad day, she would notice, and she would take me out into the hallway and just talk to me and hug me, console me. And she would call me her sunshine. She used to tell me, "You are sunshine. Like you are my sunshine. But you are sunshine. You are so bright." And it's like, now looking back, it kind of feels like she saw a lot of herself in me. And looking back, I now see a lot of myself in her, because she was just as vibrant and bubbly and poised and just full of life. And that is very much me. That is very much me. And so it makes sense why I connected with her the way that I did. But like I said, things change. I graduated to fourth grade. And yes, let me just put that in there. I did graduate third grade on time. I'm not trying to, talk about the people that didn't, but I'm just saying that I did. That's just a little flex that I had to put out there. I did graduate third grade on time. Just putting that out there. But she ended up leaving. I ended up going to fourth grade, and things changed, and all I was left with was the nice notes that she would leave me, the ribbons that she would give me whenever I was on honor roll, and she would write sunshine on it, and just her memory. And I can't even find her to this day, but I might get on my detective stuff, because I love that woman. And there are teachers that sometimes make a difference. There are teachers that actually do more than their job and don't just hound you. I really grew up kind of being a teacher's pet, but it wasn't necessarily on purpose. It was just more so because I told y'all I was getting talked about, I was getting bullied, and the teachers just felt safer than the students. Not all the time, because you have some wicked teachers. Like, the teacher from Matilda, Miss Trenchbull? some of the teachers be giving that, and it's like, why be so angry and miserable and work with a bunch of youth? You know, why come to a school and take that out on a bunch of youth? I will never understand that. But with a mix of the people that are like Miss Trenchpool, you had people who were like Miss Willis. And Miss Willis, shout out to Miss Willis, man. I'ma find you, girl. But she's just one of the examples of somebody that actually just took heed in me and that actually was just like, you're going to be amazing. You're going to do amazing. You're going to accomplish so much. And I'm so proud of you. And I love you. She used to say that, like, I love you. And I never had a teacher after that that cared as much or loved me as much. I'm not going to say I didn't have some good teachers, because in high school I had some bonds with a lot of my teachers that people actually did care. Like, I would eat lunch with them sometimes. Or if they knew that things was happening with me and my mom would be spiteful, they would bad me certain things, or they would help me with certain things, or they would give me their own personal phone number so I could text them or call them. And those things, they made a difference. You know, it really did. And I did used to have friends that also made the time feel good. I think that I laughed the most in middle school. I love to laugh, I do. But the jokes and the experiences and just one of those deep rib laughs, I had the most of those in middle school when I was talking to people that actually liked me. When I was friends with people who actually wanted to be friends with me. And I just remember sometimes going over my friends' houses and hanging out with them and playing with them and kind of seeing like what they're like after school, kind of seeing what their parents are like. And it was always so weird to me because I just never knew that not everybody parent was the same. That's when I found out that people actually had fathers in their lives. That's when I realized that families actually did, come together and everybody loved each other and spoke highly of each other. That's when I realized that, damn, is it just me? Am I the only kid on the block that, like, ain't got a father around all the time and got a mean mama? Like, am I the only person? Because everybody else is sweet. Everybody else seems sweet. And I just remember going to other friends' houses and eating their food and being in their rooms and listening to music and just being like, wow. And then also, some of my friends had siblings too. So to be around a sibling and to see what that's like, even though a lot of times my friends used to fight with their siblings, I would just always crave that bond. Like, it's nothing like just coming into your sibling room just to bother them. Or if something breaks or something happened, you can easily have somebody else to blame right then and there. I could never do that. If something broke, if something was misplaced, if something was gone, it's always me. It's always me. Like, damn. And it wasn't even me. But who else could it be, I guess? But really, y'all, sometimes it really wasn't me. So, but it was just good to get out the house those times that I did. The times that my mom was okay. And if she was okay with me going over somebody's house, she needed to know who in that house, how many people in that house, what's the mama name. I need to meet the mama. I need to talk to the mama. I need to work with the mama. I need to shop with the mama. I need to go out to eat with the mama. Like, how parents be back in the day, like, which I could appreciate. I can very much appreciate that. Like, I know that I spoke about my mother holding on to me so tight. But I do want to go on record by saying that I very much appreciate how my mother chose to raise me. Because I truly feel like if she didn't raise me the way that she did, I possibly wouldn't have gotten the opportunities that I've gotten. I possibly wouldn't have been able to go to such a great school. I possibly wouldn't be able to be so kind and nice and have compassion and just be the woman that I am today. So I do want to go on record by saying that I'm not judging her at all for her keeping me on lockdown, for her being so protective. I was her only baby. I'm still her only child. My mom was one and done. She was over it, one and done. So it's like now being older, I get it. I do. So I don't want anyone to feel like I judge my mom or I just hated my mom for me always being locked up. Was it very hard to go through that? Absolutely. And I told y'all why. But at the same time, as I'm older now, I can appreciate it. I stayed safe when I did stay in the house, because I told y'all sometimes I was being a little rebel, because like you're not gonna you can't keep a pimp down, ma. You can't keep a pimp down. You can't keep a pimp out these streets. I'm in these streets, mama. Sometimes, y'all, sometimes. But really I would just sneak to my friend's house. That's what I'm saying. Like I was not doing nothing for her. I was just literally sneaking out to go see my friends whenever she was at work. Like, let me go see my friends. Let me go see my friends, because I don't want to be in this house. Like, I was safe. I stayed out of trouble. I didn't really mix in with a bad crowd for real. I was never really peer pressured to do stuff. Drinking, smoking, having sex and stuff. That stuff didn't come really until I got older. Like, I went into college. You experience stuff in college. But growing up, I never was peer pressured. I never really did it. I had my first edible trip senior year of high school. I was 18. And man, was that a trip. But that's a story for another day. But it's like I wasn't doing anything, and she did her best to keep me out of harm's way. So I do appreciate her for that. And I do get it. I do. But growing up, experiencing it, it was hard. It was tough. And then all the other stuff that I was dealing with too. It just made it even more hard. So, but I just had to share with y'all, like, it wasn't always so bad. It wasn't always so horrible and depressing. But as I got older, my life just started to get more intense. It started to be less of those happy memories, less of laughing, less of going out, less of events, and just more depression, more darkness, more sadness, more emptiness, more loneliness. But for that section and period of my time, I was a child. I was a kid. I laughed and I had fun and I hung around my cousins a lot, and we just were this big family. And sometimes I wish that I can go back in time to experience those things one more time, because if I would have known that those chapters of my life would be the only times as a kid that I had to really be a kid, that I was actually happy for a little bit, I possibly would have tried to sit in it even more. I possibly would have tried to stay in it a little more. If only we could do that. If only we can go back in time, y'all, sometimes. But that is it for this episode. I just wanted to give y'all a quick little part two to that first one. I didn't want y'all to think that I was just always in a dungeon my whole life. Honestly, I would say the dungeon part happened a big part of my life, but more towards when I got older. But I told y'all it was a section of my life that it was kind of lit. And then after that, yeah, But I just had to tell y'all more about my city. I just had to tell y'all about more of the places that I've been. And I just had to let y'all know that it wasn't all bad. That's the base of this episode. It wasn't all bad. I did have some type of fun. Okay? Like, I did. So, thank y'all for staying with me till the end. I always love knowing that somebody listened the complete hour or less than an hour time, and you really just bonded with me. You really just laughed with me, cried with me, resonated with me, related to me. And I appreciate that so, so much. Like I said in the intro, I do have a couple things up my sleeve for this podcast. So don't forget to turn your notification bells icons on. And thank y'all again for tuning in. And thank y'all again for embarking this journey with me. And we're going to keep going up. The next episode will be about family. I love how every episode I leeway to something else. I'm really doing a great job with this, huh? I'm getting the hang of it, y'all. But y'all should really hear how many takes it takes for me to even do one good episode. Oh my gosh, I have a completely new type of respect for content creators or anybody who has a podcast, because the time that it takes to edit one audio, whew, but I don't mind doing it because whatever the polished version you hear, that's what was meant to be heard. So, thank y'all. I love y'all. Enjoy y'all weekend. And I'll see y'all next episode.